Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only Myro. We haven't specifically made a video on this coin in God knows how long. You know, one of the big issues with this coin is the fact that there's barely any support from the team and the community, right? If you guys don't know, this is Myro's page, and we can see that they are not very active. The craziest thing is that this is the most active they've been in March. And we can see one time in February, one time in January, one time in December, one time in November, a couple of retweets. They had a big listing planned, I believe, on Kraken, and that went to crap. It's just pretty much the team prioritizing short-term gains instead of legacy and even higher gains, because the reality is they would have made more money if they just simply focused on this project, created some kind of legacy, built up a name, maybe built another token or two, and built that one up decently. But they just kind of let this coin die out. So it's very unfortunate that that is the case. We can actually see that, I did reply to them earlier today because they did post again, but you can see that the post was deleted by the author. I don't know if there was a lot of spam comments, people complaining or not, because I saw the tweet within the first couple of seconds. This is what I just said. And then when I came back an hour or two later, it was already deleted. So we can see that, right? And I do truly believe that this coin would have been one of the best coins out there if it was just simply for an active team and community. We see something like Turbo, right? Now, I don't think Turbo can be replicated. You can get similar results to Turbo, but I don't think Turbo can be replicated. But Myro could have been something close to Turbo. Okay. The reality is, if the team was consistently putting in effort, even posting once a day, trying to get more, listed on more exchanges, continuing and evolving the project, the price would have held much better, and we would have been at a higher price at this point. That is the reality. The thing is, Myro, unironically, is still one of the better dog coins out there, right? Because there's not that many good dog coins. I mean, we can go to some of the most obvious ones, right? We can go to something like meme coins, we go to something like obvious ones like Doge, right? Shiba Inu, I guess you could say Floki, Bonk. Obviously the top coins are going to hold well, right? But in terms of the smaller, medium size, there's not really that many promising coins. And the thing is, Myro could have been one of those coins that would have been up in a couple 100 million market cap. But instead, there's just no support behind it, which is, it's kind of sad, right? It is kind of sad because you can even see even this like Elon coin, it's at 74 million market cap, and we know this one is, it's very iffy. And I'm telling you, man, I just know from experience, from intuition, from what I've seen in the markets, dog coins are meta, meme coins are meta, and Myro is the dog of the Solana maker or owner, I believe, something like that, right? So the creator of Solana, Myro is his dog. I mean, there could have been even a future collaboration if the marketing went well, if everything went well, but instead, no, they just didn't really put in the effort, which is such a damn shame, right? It is such a damn shame. And it is what it is. It just happens sometimes. I have a small position on Myro, not too big. Currently it is down a good amount because I just kind of left it, right? I did get in roughly at an average of 11 cents. So I'm personally down a good amount right now. But like I said, I do believe I will recover, maybe even make a 2x from here. Right, I'm personally down, this much, but it is not even 1% of my portfolio. It's not even 0.5% of my portfolio. So I'm chilling, right? If it's less than literally 0.5% of my portfolio, maybe 0.25, maybe point, 0.015, something like that, something extremely low. So, for me, it is what it is. But I know people are looking to see if this coin can recover. Now, I do think there will be a decent pump, but I do think you do have to get the hell out. So, look, right? The next big territory for Myro is to reclaim this big zone over here of roughly 6 cents, right? If we get above 6 cents and start closing above, you could potentially see Myro gain some momentum upwards of 13 cents. Now, that may possibly be as good as it gets, okay? Because there is an institutional weekly candle over here. So I would not be surprised if it sells off. Now, if Myro completely flops and nothing really changes, then you might see 13 cents as its peak. If we do go on different time frames, right? If we do go on different time frames, we can actually see that this zone is actually very important as well. So if we do flop, then 13 cents will probably be the peak. But if we do really well and we actually start closing above the 13-cent mark, then that's when we can start talking again. Now, that is obviously a long road ahead, but I don't really plan on making too many Myro videos unless it is going to be relevant again, because there's no point of talking about a dead project nor promoting it in a way, right? Or giving it the time of day. So, if we do start closing above 13 cents, then that is when we can, potentially go upwards of 33 cents again. But of course, that's going to take some kind of work. And, it's not going to just be done overnight. It's not something that can just be done super, super easily. Most likely will not happen. But we will have to see. If I go on Myro right now and I check, the community, some people believe like, right, that was the buy zone, that was the man zone, because that was literally the beginning, right? Where we bottomed out was the beginning. But it doesn't matter, right? Obviously, there's going to be some kind of risk takers on Myro at the literal bottoms, because that's just how investors see it. They see opportunity and, they just take it. But it doesn't mean Myro will necessarily, you know, continue pumping. Now, I do think it still has some life in it. I do still think it'll hit a couple of cents. Like I said, 13 cents is a possibility, but I just don't really see and know where the support's coming from. Right now it has 15 million in volume, 21 million market cap. So it's crazy how hard this coin fell off. What was the market cap at one point? Like 8 million? Yeah, we were like roughly 8 million. And it's crazy because at one point we were even upwards of 400 million market cap. So unfortunately, this is one of those coins that fell off super, super hard. I mean, we could literally see that, like I said, these bottoms over here were practically, the literal bottoms. I think that's why I found some life. We're not even listed on big exchanges. It's a big, big shame that the owners and the creators don't want to support this coin, because we still had so many exchanges to go. I mean, without all these exchanges, we hit 400 million market cap, people. That's what I'm telling you. This coin could have been a multi-billion market cap coin, but the owners' support just kind of flopped, right? We can see some people were talking about it on Twitter, but not too many, right? I think people that were just kind of holding this coin, obviously there's some people that have put a lot of money, so they really, really want this coin to pump. But ladies and gentlemen, you have to be very, very careful. Is it worth the risk? Maybe, but there's just better coins out there. If you are looking for a buying opportunity, then, if we do create lower and lower highs, which we are currently making at this moment, we're also kind of having a support level here, right? But if we do crash below, then we could potentially see, Myro go back down to like 1.8 cents. So that's where I would be looking for. I don't think we're going to get any big retracement all the way down here. If we do, that may be a decent buying opportunity. But as of right now, it is just kind of holding. We could potentially have a decent pump up to this order block before we sell off. And if that's going to be the case, then we probably will break this green box and structure, and we probably will be going down to 2 cents or back down to even like 1.5, 1.6. So yeah, those are the buying opportunities if you want to take the risk. I'm personally going to be staying out of this project. I'm not going to be investing anymore. I have been buying a lot of coins over the last, several months, and Myro was not one of them. But that is Legion. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.